Welcome everybody to Go Global World podcasts. Now we are here to discuss another important topic related to Chinese market, and especially related to gaming startups. And the topic for today is how to enter Chinese market for a gaming startup. Before I introduce the speaker, I will give you a few words about this topic, why it is important for us and why we think it's important to discuss Chinese market at the moment. Chinese market as a fast, constant growing market in gaming has attracted more and more Western companies to set up and expand in their Chinese reach. And it contributed over 45 billion in revenues, and China is far the primary driver of Asia Pacific region, with the highest region by game revenues taking up around 26% of the global gaming market in 2021. Owing to its massively mobile first games, it was less impacted by COVID-19 and in 2020. In reverse, it created some kind of reverse growth upon that, and it's very interesting. To discuss this topic, we have contacted an expert from China, from Beijing, CHEN. She is a co-founder of Easy Game Limited, a mobile game publisher in China, with rich experience in publishing Western games in China market and experience in both IAA plus IAP monetization. She also has been taking and dealing with numerous studios in the globe and help expand the Chinese reach. Well, Cherry, great to have you here. I'm really excited to discuss this topic, especially because I have some experience in gaming and publishing, and so I have some tough questions to you. So hopefully we can address it and help entrepreneurs entering different markets, especially Chinese one, to find steps they can do to actually achieve it as soon as it is realistic. And if you have some more words to say about yourself, please do so, and I'm happy to jump into our conversation.
Okay, thanks Daniel for having me here today, and I'm looking forward to sharing you with you more information about us and how we work with our partners, and hope it will be helpful for you to enter China markets.
Awesome. Well, I won't make anyone wait anymore, and let's assume that I'm a game publisher, right? And I have some nice games I want to release in Chinese market. How would I do that?
So first of all, you need to otherwise you need to have a Chinese partner to help you to publish your games in China, or you hire Chinese employees and then build up your Chinese entity here, because you need to have the required ICP license and also to apply for the ISBN here in China to release in China market. So you need to have very basic requirements or preparation during the process to get your games in release in China markets. So after that, I would like to share with you some information about us and how the process looks like and what kind of genres that you need to start with.
Yeah, this is very interesting one about the process because I've been in touch with many publishers in France, in United States, and in many countries. For example, like Voodoo or GitSmart, Zynga, Bandai Namco, yeah, Ketchup. I know all of them, and I was lucky to be in touch with most of those team managements of those companies, and but Chinese market was always kind of a unique place to tackle, to address. How is this process unique, and how it is look like for international publishers, international indie developers, for example, right, entering Chinese markets and working with Chinese publishers?
So I think in the process would not be that complicated as you imagine. Like first of all, you need to localize your games so that all the Chinese user, they would be able to understand the game and how to play the game. So basically for the localization of the game, it would be either take care of the developers or the publishers on their own, or mostly it would took care by the publisher in China. And after that, you need to also integrate some SDK of the game so that the publisher they will be able to check the user behaviors in game, and you will need to implement the checking events in game so as to further analyze the user behaviors. And also the publisher would be able to provide with a proposal on how to optimize the game upon running campaigns for the game. And once you prepare such China builds for the publisher, they will be able to release the game either in Apple Store or any Chinese Android store, or they could only run campaigns on some UA channels for the game to see how it performs in China. And based on that, the publisher would be able to share with you some metrics of the game. For example, the retention, the playtime, the ARPU, the ECPM, and the profits, the LTV, essential for you to better understand how it performs in China and how to maximize the profits in China as well. So for many details I would like to share with you, but that is the rough process of how it works. So it's not that complicated, but it takes time for the developers to make some changes according to the proposal to make build a version that better fit into China markets.
Right. And in terms of the rules there, the rules, regulations, or whatever related to some important rules to address, what are those for indie game developers to know?
So basically, actually, I have a presentation here for you to better understand the ISBN and also the anti-addiction system, which are very important and mandatory for all games from the West to enter China markets.
Yeah,
so
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would let me share my green screen.
Perfect.
So let's move here. So that's basically, for today, I would like to share with you some of the information, something about us and what you need to do, and also about the rules. And also I would like to share with you the insights, like what kind of genres you can focus on, what kind of genres that would work best in China, and what you need to do to find a good partner.
Right.
So first of all, I think I will need to have a brief introduction of us. We're also a startup, and that's why I would like to share with you some helpful insights for looking for China partners and in having win-win results for your games. We focus on casual games, also for mid-core games or games with balance-oriented games, and that have the potential to achieve in-app ads monetization and in-app purchase monetization. So I would be very quick for that, because if you have more question or information about us, I would like to share with you. And that is some of the project that we released with our partners from the West. We have been working with numerous partners, for example, Netmarble, Ketchup, Green Panda, App Content, Essential. So here, so if you would like to enter China market, you would need to find a Chinese publisher partner. Either you would set up a Chinese corporation or Chinese entity so that you are able to legally allowed to publish games, operate games in China. And second, you will need to have the ICP license, which is required by the government as well. So this could also apply for the Chinese companies. And that's very basic requirements that you need to prepare in advance. And second, you need to have the software copyright certificate, that is the game license, because it's also required by the Apple Store and also the Chinese Angel Store or any UA channels in China. And the last one is the ISBN. That is very important and also major concern for most of the Western company, that they know that it's very difficult, and the government here is very strict to approve the ISBN. And so here I would like to share with you the details about the ISBN, like how it works and how to approve, how to apply for, and how the process, how long it would take. So basically, it started to put in place in 2016, and since that the market is growing. And in 2019 March, the government lifted the ban again, particularly for games with in-app purchase or games with the content related to gambling, casino, poker, mahjong, essential to straight the markets. And in 2020 June, it's tightening again. So that's why Apple announced that games with in-app purchase need to have ISBN. But before that, games with in-app purchase are able to release on Apple Store. But after that, games with purchase are not allowed unless you have the ISBN. So that leads to more difficult markets in China here. And also it's still a very tough time because the government stopped to pause to approve new ISBN since September, and it's still ongoing, and it's still no new ISBN to approve until now. But it's heard that it may be able to approve the mid of this year. So everyone would be waiting for the next update for that. And next, I would like to share with you how the application process working. Normally, it would take around 6 to 8 months. So first of all, the company need to prepare for the ICP license and also the copyright to go through the registration. And next, it's required for the developer or the publisher from the West to prepare an ISBN reviewing bill. This bill is particularly for the reviewing people, and it's not going to release on the market. You need to make sure all the contents are logged, and also prepare some 3 types of accounts for those reviewing people to thoroughly test the bill. And also, it's very important for you to implement the anti-addiction system to make sure it's required to meet up the requirements of the government. And then after that, it will move on to the reviewing from the office at the provincial level. And for this process, it will last for 2 to 3 months. And it could be longer. It depends on your partner. If your partner are able to access to the green pass, it will be faster. And after that, you will be able to get the green light to move on the state level. And it would also take 1 to 2 months to go through that. And once it's ready, and you would wait for the final approval, and you need another 1 to 2 months. So overall, it would take around 6 to 8 months. For core games, it may take longer, like even 1 year or 2 years. It's depending on the project, and it's also depending on your partners with the relation to the government. So from my perspective, you need to find a publisher with very rich experience in applying for the ISBN, or with the partner that with the green pass to ISBN, to make sure that your application is effective and it's not disappear afterwards when you go through the application. Because I have heard from some Western studio that they have going through the application process, and it's been going through 1 to 2 years, and then after that, there are no news for their games. So you need to make sure that your partners are able to have rich experience, and you need to constantly check with them and to make sure they have received the ISBN for some of their projects before. That is some kind of tip that I would like to share with you. And next is the anti-addiction, which I mentioned. It's also called the real name authentication system, which you need to implement in game, so that players, before they play the game, they need to input their names, their BD cards, so as to tell that their age, because the government, they have the requirements for user younger than 18. You could see that right now, if such anti-addiction has been going through since 2019, and it's very strict right now for children or younger player under 18. They can only play 1 hour every day from Friday to Sunday or during the national holiday, and they are not able to play games at weekdays. It's very strict, but it's interesting that some Chinese younger player, they will use their the ID numbers of their parents and then enter the game and then purchase in game, and that is that will lead to a kind of situation that the publisher would receive many refunds, saying that there's refunds from the parents, saying that it's their children, no, not them to purchase. So they would request for the refund. That would be a negative impact for the publisher. So this is another very important rules that you need to be aware, and you need to make sure that you need to implement based on the proposal of your publisher partner. And this is basically the 2 important rules that you need to know, because all games with in-app purchase, it's require ISBN, but for games without in-app purchase, you could also just run campaigns and you don't need to release on any Android stores, and that could be also a way out for you. For how the process looks like, I think that would be also interesting for you. As mentioned, you need to take care of the SDK integration and also implement checking events, also provide some tag-related supports. That's basically what you need to do in the very beginning, but you would also need to support the publisher to make some changes or make some tweaks to the game so as to better fit into China market. And for the publisher partner, they would also take care the localization, marketing, copyright, UI creatives, data-driven operations, essential, everything related to the marketing in China will be taken care of by the publisher. But it would be depending on the business model. Some publisher that would also take care of the source code licensed by the developers. It's all depending on how you negotiate with the publisher. And for the business terms, it could be 50-50, 40-60. It's all depending on the both sides. But normally it's very commonly used for the profit share here in China. So better to negotiate like 40-60 or 50-50 with some kind of MG payments or marketing guarantee with your publisher partner. So yeah, that's basically the process, and it's not that complicated, and hope it would be helpful. Next is, what kind of genres that you would need to start with. This is analysis for the global genres with in-app ads revenue and in-app purchase revenue. You could see that for the archives with the most percent of ads revenue, and then sports, and then simulation, and then casual games that would be more potential to achieve a better in-app ads monetization. But with in-app purchase revenue, it would be helpful for you to prolong your lifetime of the games and ensure a constant operation of your games. But how it looks like in China, and for me, and based on my previous experience with working numerous studio, we would focus on simulation idle tycoon games because those genres of games have the potential to achieve both in-app ads and in-app purchase monetization, especially games with balance-oriented mechanic. And for some action-oriented games, it's very difficult to achieve in-app ads monetization, but it would be a better option to achieve in-app purchase-oriented games. So it's important for you to know that you need to make sure and determine the genres of the game first, and then you need to make sure it's important to have a deeper ecosystem of the game to make sure user they have enough content and enough items to explore. So, and then after that, you can consider what kind of things or arts need to be suitable in China markets. Yeah, that's basic, very basic information that I can share with you. But you could let me know if you want to know any further information. That is some kind of insight for me. Would like to share with you. For us, it's very important to stay competitive upon the strict and difficult market here in China. So for us, we need to be very sensitive to the changing market. For example, in 2019, it's the very beginning of the in-app ads monetization market here in China, and you need to be very sensitive, and you need to make sure to work with more in-app ads monetization games to make sure you are able to be more competitive. And then next, you need to be unprecedented in implementing the policy. That means that you need to stay close to the Chinese government, and then you need to be close to the policy here. So that's why we're able to be accessed to the green pass of ISBN. And that's why we will be able to get the ISBN faster than most of the company here. And then you need to be very reliable to your partner. That means that it's important from the very beginning for you to build trust with your partners, and then once you work with the first project, you will need to be very reliable to offer effective proposal and suggestion on them to how to optimize the game. And then you need to be able to provide with valuable insights on the game and on the market for them to enter the market and maximize the profits. And next, you need to be very initiative. You need to share with your partners any of your concern and insight or feelings upon the process, so that you are able to build up a long-term partners, because it's important to have long-term partners upon the changing market, so that you would be able to together propose for a more efficient option for your games. And then you need to ensure that you have very efficient process for your partners, because they in this case, they will be able to make fast work and make optimization and all the support for both parties. So that's basically how we are able to survive and build up very long-term partnership with some of the partners upon the changing markets. And we need to ensure that your 80% of revenues will come from 20% of your long-term partners. That means that you need to make sure that you have 20% of long-term partners in all studios or companies that you talk to. That's I think that's basically the information that I would like to cover today. And if you have more information, I would love to help you.
Well, great slides. Thank you for preparing it for us. It's making it really more clear how to enter and the specifics of Chinese market. I like all the schemas you shared and some behind the curtain rules that might be not that visible. It's important. I'm kind of interested to know additionally how to find the right publisher. So you say to find a partner, but what if a startup is looking publishers themselves? Like what are the first things they need to do to find the right publisher they need to find? You know, I guess there are plenty of publishers on the market, but not everyone would be the right fit. How do they know what is the right fit for them and how to find this publisher in China?
Yeah, I could totally understand you, because I've talked to many studios and they have different expectations from the publisher. So first of all, it's very important for you to share with the publisher that what you need from them. Because some of the studios, like very small team, they focus on hyper casual game and they only look for financial support from the publisher. That means that they would be willing to make the bespoke games or make some prototypes for the publisher, and they would be very fast and easy to go to make more projects for the publisher. So it would be a very different partnership for the publisher and the developer. So in this case, for this kind of studio, if you would like to look for partners that could offer you financial support, I would recommend that you could talk to many big companies instead of medium or startup companies, because for big companies in China, they will be able to offer you financial support. But there is also a very important issue, that is the language and the time difference. You know that for big companies in China, the process and everything will be very slow, and some of the studios are not able to survive due to the slow process, because they need to survive, they need money urgently. So I could say it's difficult, but if you are able to attend to some gaming events in China and you're able to be active in some WeChat groups in gaming, that will be easier for you, because the market here is transparent and you're able to find everyone through the WeChat group. So that would be an easy way for you to look for the right partner. And second, if you are looking for a partner who help you to optimize your games and not look for the financial, they will be able to provide very valuable proposal for you to understand how the market works and how the chat what genres and what art, what content of the Chinese user would like. And you would need to consider the medium or even startup companies to work with, because for those companies, they will be focused more on providing efficient proposal for the studios. So for us, we will be this kind of partner that we are able to provide effective and long-term and constant proposal for the studios to understand the China market, and for them to know how to make a better fit version of for the China markets. So in this kind of partnership, you would be able to share any idea or concept to the Chinese publisher in the very beginning, and that would be able to make very fast CTR testing before you make the game, because once you saw the CTR testing, you will be able to know if it's attractive by the user, if it has competitive CPI, and after that, you could discuss further for the ecosystem of the game, and which is also very important. And next, it's kind of agent partner. Like for some studios, they have numbers of projects, and they just look for an agent partner to sell their game to Chinese company, because some Chinese company, they also look for some source codes, and then they would recreate by their own. So in this case, you would be able to just find some agent partner to sell your games, and you cannot expect them to like offer some kind of suggestion on the games. You just need to sell your game, and that's a very major business partnership in this industry.
All right. So I have 3 more questions to ask, and before I do that, everyone who is watching us, please press the like button, because we just discussed very challenging questions and shared with you very rare information about entering the Chinese market, and this kind of like will help us spread this knowledge across YouTube channel. Subscribe to this channel and ask your questions here in the comments. If there would be good questions, we will ask Cherry to help you get the answer. Of course, if you can repost or share it across indie game development community, it will be very helpful for all of us to spread the knowledge. Well, I have 3 more challenging questions that might be challenging for publishers, and maybe you can guide us through. What are the most typical 3 to 5 mistakes the indie game developers from abroad, from outside China, are making, and so what they should do instead?
You mean what's the common mistake that
Correct.
they made to find a publisher, right?
Yep.
The very common mistake I heard is they find a partner that, you know, for most of the studios, they would be looking for an advance payment before they work with the partner, because they have invested their time and money into the project. So it's reasonable for them to ask for such advance payment, right? But for companies that are able to offer the advance payment, they may not be able to offer constant operation for your game. They will be just offer you the advance payment, and then after that, they find that this game is not working good in China, and then they will stop and they will move on to another project. So in this case, if you are looking for like a short-term cooperation just to cover the previous budget of this project, then it's working to find such partner. But if you are looking and you are expecting your partner to make constant operation for your games, you need to be very careful, and you need to sign the agreement and to require that they need to make constant marketing of the game, and even though the game is not working good, they will be able to help you to optimize the game for 1 year. You need to make sure that it's all in the agreement. Otherwise, when you get the money and they are not working, and then the publisher will move on to another project. So that is some of the complaint that I heard from many other studios in the past. And you need to be very careful about that. And the second is very interesting that, you know, they find some big companies in China, and they also receive some good results. But like from the 6 months or 3 months after that, the publisher, they find that this game is not working, or they have a much better project, and then they just disappear. So the developer, they are not able to find the publisher, even though they have tried many ways. So that is also a potential risk for the studio, that they first talk to the publisher. And the third one, that would be the business term. Like they are not able to ensure some specific issue in the agreement. For example, if the game is published by their partner, and then the publisher will resell the game, and they don't know that, and the publisher will just wait for their current partner, but they don't know other, they don't know this game has been relicensed by another partner. So you need to be ensure a very close conversation with your partner, and very close eyes to the Chinese market, and make sure it's not relicensed by the third party.
Yeah, very interesting actually remarks. I appreciate that. One more question about the metrics. What are the minimum metrics the publishers are requiring to review the project? I'm not even saying proof, but to review.
I think it's all depending on the publisher. Like for some publisher, they focus on hyper casual games, and for some publisher, they focus on mid-core games, and some publisher focus on core games. So there would be different standards for those genres of project. For hyper casual games, it's very common that you need to do CTR and you need to have a good CPI, like no more than $1 or maybe $0.5. It's all depends on the standard of the publisher. And for mid-core games like us, we will focus on games with the potential to achieve in-app ads and in-app monetization games. So we would require that the game has long-term profitability. So you need to make sure that the playtime of the user would be more than 30 minutes, and you would have good retention day 7. Like if you have day 1 retention day 140, and you need to have around 10% of day 7 retention. That is to ensure that you have long-term profitability and long-term in-app ads and in-app purchase monetization. And next is the RV side, that is the rewarded video watched by user per day. That would be more than 8 or 10 times at least. But for our current project with best performance, it would have more than 20 times of RV of the rewarded videos watched by per user per day. And very good day 7 retention around 15%. So for mid-core games, publisher, they will focus on the long-term ecosystem and of the game. The game has very deeper ecosystem to ensure that they are able to prolong the lifetime. But for the core games, it's another different topic, that the developer would make a constant live out events and very strong in-app purchase of the game, and to ensure that the game has a very long, like day 30 retention would be higher, or would be more strict for the games. So it's all depending on what the publisher expertise in and what their standards.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And I think we reached to our final point. You shared so much information. Everybody who's watching us, please press the like button and subscribe, and ask your comments below. And before I let you go, what would be your final recommendations to indie game developers from around the world, startup entrepreneurs as well, that are entering China? Like what you have on your mind, on your heart to share with entrepreneurs, and it would be your closing statement for this podcast.
Yeah, sure. I would love to for indie studios, if you are looking for a China publisher, or if you want to enter China market, I would really recommend you to find a publisher partner. It's not for famous company. you can think to work with. It's you know, sometimes most indie developer, they would like to work with some famous company or big companies. They would think that, you know, they would have a kind of guarantee for those company, but you will need to be very cautious, because some big companies, they have very slow process, and you need to know how their process looks like. You need to ask them very detailed information, that how many people in your operation team, how many people that you will be able to take care of the project, and you need to ask more details about the project and about the publisher, and the speed of their response also could be a consideration for you to know that if they are efficient or if they are fast responding, and because it would reflect the culture of that company. And I think it's very important for you to find a company that with common culture or common chemistry of your team. And for me, I think people always matter a lot, because people you work with need to have common value with you, to common goals with your projects. And then you consider like what's their previous project, what's their previous partners, and how's the performance of their games work in the past. And that's a very basic information, but the thing is you need to find and to tell if they are the right partner, if they have the right or common culture with you. Because like if you are a startup studio, you can also consider to work with some startup team, because they will be more efficient and they would have more similar culture with you. And in this case, it would be more suitable for both of you to achieve a good result. It's kind of, you know, it's very similar like the relationship. If you find the right person that with common with you, it will be, everything will be easier. So that's the thing that I think that is important for you.
And that was CHEN, co-founder of Easy Game from Beijing. And at Go Global World, we are committed to find you the best experts in different industries, in different niches from around the world, to help you to take the steps to move your business forward, entering different markets and achieving business results. So if you've never been to Go Global World, please go on our website, goglobal.world, and create your profile so you'll be visible to other entrepreneurs from around the world and venture investors from around the world. At the same time, we have some specific programs for fundraising, which is called Pitch to Global Investors. And we have global chats where you can connect with like-minded entrepreneurs from different countries, which are sharing very simple values to help each other enter different markets, like me and Cherry did today, sharing this knowledge for you. Thank you so much, Cherry. Everyone who was watching us, please help us spread the voice about this topic, this video, and hopefully we will see some successful stories based on this conversation. Have a great the rest of the day, everyone who was watching us.